Hi there, my name is Adrian. I'm the founder of JavaScript Mastery. I created the JSM Masterclass experience to help web developers launch and fast track their careers. We do this with real world team project building with modern tech stacks, personalized mentor help from experienced developers, and career support. This is an interview not with Adrian, but Adrien, a Masterclass student. So, welcome, Adrian.
Yeah, thanks for having me,
How are you doing
Adrian.
today?
I'm doing great.
Great. So let's kind of talk a bit about your background. What were you doing before you decided to join the JSM Masterclass experience?
Yeah, good question. Before joining the bootcamp, I was the owner of my own e-com company, and I used to work on Shopify. So I had some notions about code and front end and back end stuff. And before that, I also attended a workshop to learn about JavaScript from scratch. So I already had notions, but I was not able to. I didn't feel confident to work as in a professional environment as a web developer. So
Okay,
this is
so
my
we're talking, yeah, you were doing Shopify. I'm guessing that's more low code in a sense. So you wanted to
yeah,
dive deeper
exactly, yeah.
into it, right?
Yeah, I was able to hack into the team, for instance, and to modify code, but it was still basic stuff. And yeah, I was not able to, didn't feel confident to touch live code, and because I was afraid to break something.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, it was more about no code slash no code things, low code
Okay, but
things.
still,
Yeah,
you managed to make it incredibly successful. So first of all, congratulations to you. And then,
thank
but
you.
you did figure out how, with just a bit more experience, development related, you can make so much more. So you mentioned
Mhm.
that other bootcamp that you joined before, and then I'm guessing even after that bootcamp, you were still lacking just a bit of confidence. Would you put
Yep.
it that way?
Um, yeah, I think we can say that.
Or kind of, or what was the reason? Let me rephrase that. What was the reason after completing that other bootcamp to join the masterclass? Was it kind of that team group experience, working with
Yeah.
mentors, or what was it?
Yeah, actually, I love the fact that it was a project-based bootcamp,
Yeah.
meaning I knew we were going to work on like real stuff and not only doing lessons or exercise, but working with others, developers on a real application, web application or website, and that was the main thing that yeah convinced me to join the bootcamp, the JavaScript Mastery Bootcamp. Yeah.
Great. And what do you think of the projects you've built?
I love them. It was, yeah, I love the fact that it was really trying to simulate a real life, real professional environment, meaning we were kind of a web agency. And at the beginning of the month, we received a brief with the explanation and due date and design we were supposed to implement, deliver. So it
Yeah.
was as if we were in a professional kind of agency, for instance. And yeah, I love that because we also have um, the what we should deliver, and also having a due date. Like
Yeah.
it's also really important to have mentors and due date to just be able to deliver on time and produce and yeah, ship good code actually.
That's great. So, as you said, like an agency, you get a project you need to
Yeah.
build, but there's a catch. And that's that throughout the entire period of those 30 days for each monthly project, you have mentors and you have guidance and you can ask any
Mhm.
questions, right? How did you feel about that part of the masterclass?
For me, it's better to um, just work on my stuff.
Yeah.
And when I need help, I know I can reach the mentor, but it's not mandatory. You can just work on whatever you have to work on. And yeah, I like that because that's how I love working, just trying to do it myself. And when I feel that I'm completely stuck and I can't do it alone, then I can reach a mentor, which are really good and friendly, by the way.
Okay.
So this is how I love to work. And yeah, to be honest, there are some people that reach me to ask me whether they should join your bootcamp, the JS Mastery experience, or
Okay.
another bootcamp or school. And I said, well, it's completely different. And for me, the experience, the JS Mastery experience is better and it suits me better because it's not, I didn't feel like I was a student at school. I
Yeah.
really could be creative and do my stuff. But knowing that there were mentors and someone had a backup for me if I was stuck. Yeah. So
That's
yeah,
wonderful. And
I enjoyed it.
that's that kind of difference that we try to make. It's really the fully different paradigm of what we're trying to
Yeah.
achieve. Not just teach the theory, but teach through practical development experience. And you just nailed it with that kind of sentence. So the mentors were there, and also the pull request reviews were great, right? I'm guessing you'll get to learn how to write proper code. Was that the case?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there was a code review, which were really interesting, and it was also really smooth because we just have to do a PR on GitHub, a pull request on GitHub, and someone was reviewing the code and helping us understand how to write better code. So yeah, it was also a good things to. It was a nice bonus. Yeah.
That's great. And I think this went really well with you. As you said, you love to learn on your own, kind of really dive into code. And the benefits of those PRs are then you spend some time thinking at how to implement that initial solution, but then you get direct feedback line by line on how to improve the solution you already wrote, right? So that way you get to improve it and make it more efficient or more optimized.
Exactly.
So that's great. And then
I just wanted to add that that's my favorite way of learning and improving. Yeah.
That's great. And then what are you doing right now? I know there've been a couple of changes in the jobs you're doing. So first of all, you get a role. Was it a full-time role at an AI company, right?
Yeah, in a French AI startup, and yeah, I wanted to stay independent, so I choose the freelancer path.
Yeah.
And um, and I kind of thought what was the best way to apply for different companies, and then I realized that I could just share my stories and document my stories on how I learned to code and what I'm able to do, and also showcase the project we made during the GS Mastery experience, which was really great because people want to see not only that you have a degree, but also that you work on a real project. And so I just decided to share everything on LinkedIn, my story, what I've done so far. And yeah, some people reached me out, and one of them offered me this freelancer job for, I don't know, 2 months, something like that. So that was my first mission as a freelancer, and it was really exciting.
Yeah, and how was it working for an AI startup during the biggest startup boom right now that we have in 2023?
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, actually, I didn't really feel that because I was just coding on my computer. But when I talked with the founders, I could feel how excited they were, and that every investors, every VC in Europe reached out to them. And so there is something going on, and a lot of tractions. But I was not completely able to feel that, also because I was working fully remotely. So
of course.
But it was really exciting. It was really exciting, and it's a really, for the first job as a real developer, it was really exciting.
Phenomenal. And then that was a freelancer role, as you said, remote freelancing. And then after that, you managed to land another position, which is, if I'm not mistaken, starting from next Monday. So in about 3 days from now, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
That's quite exciting. So could you tell me a bit more about that?
Yeah, sure. So it's a company in the UK, and they work in the finance industry. I don't think that I could tell much more because they work in the not in the finance industry, but it's the investigation part of the finance industry.
No worries. Just in general, are you which your kind of how you're feeling about the role that you're about to start?
Yeah, I'm really excited because I'm going to work with a senior developer. It's just going to be the two of us, and he's really nice. He's willing to help me improve my code and help me learn new stuff, and also because we are going to work on the nice and modern stack with Next and Tailwind. And so this is also really interesting because we are going to work from scratch, and I'm going to see how to create a real applications with real customers from the beginning. And this is also really exciting.
That's phenomenal. That's the best thing that you can do right now.
Yeah.
And for that specifically, I think the JSM Masterclass is going to play a big role because you already went through that a couple of times with a couple of other projects, right?
Yeah, indeed. And I feel ready and confident.
That's phenomenal. So would you say that the projects you have done in the Masterclass have played a major role in kind of providing you with a foot through the door into the industry with that freelancer job and then this other one as well?
Yeah, completely.
Phenomenal. And not only that, but you're also feeling, as you said, you're feeling confident. And that's a huge thing. You're about to start a Next.js project within a company for real users, and you said you're feeling confident? That's phenomenal. Yeah. That's great.
It's also because I know I'm going to work with a more senior developer.
Yep.
But also because, yeah, I've done that with you and the group, the team, my team back when I was in the
Yep.
bootcamp. And I just know how to do that, but also because now I know how to search on the internet to find the answer I need.
Yep.
And yeah, I guess this is just how you do at the
That's
beginning. You just Google things and look on Stack Overflow. So I know how to do that, and I know also this is how many of the even more senior developers do that every single day. So
yeah.
yeah, just we'll see, but I'm confident. Yeah.
With you, Adrian, the JSM Masterclass experience really accomplished what we're trying to achieve. And that is, first of all, to get that first foot through the door. And then also, once you do get it, to be confident and to have the skills needed to do it properly, right? So I'm really happy to say that. Now, is there anything else you want to say to anyone watching this who's maybe thinking about joining the Masterclass?
Yeah. For people thinking about joining, or even for people doing the masterclass already, I would say, yeah, just don't be afraid to make mistake, and um, be serious about that. Be serious about learning code, because at the beginning it could be scary, but it's not that difficult. You just have to do it every single day, even for just an hour, but just keep learning and keep developing stuff, even if it's just like simple or easy website or web application. And yeah, just enjoy the process of learning and building. I think
Yeah.
that's it. Yeah.
So consistency and maybe accountability, as you said, right? Having somebody be there for
Yeah,
you to hold you accountable. Would you say?
exactly. Yeah.
That's great. Adrian, thank you so much for coming on. It was really a pleasure to have you, and everything has been great. So I'm really happy to see where you are at this point in time. And
Yeah,
for
thank you.
everybody watching, if you want to join the next cohort, master modern web development, and get hired as soon as possible, as Adrian did, click the link in the description below to apply. We'll let you know if you're a good fit after you solve the admission survey. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.